And how was it for you when you was at drama school? Like, because a lot of these drama schools are in like nice areas, and you have to live within that area, and then still make a means by getting a job and stuff. How did you find that as well? Was that quite challenging? Because you have like a cleaning job or something like this.
Yeah, well, I tell you what, the problem was, right, because you were doing ridiculous hours in the day. Like some days you could be doing 15 hours if you had rehearsals for a show. So they're kind of like, right, well, you don't get enough money from your student loan, but also you can't get a job because we'll need you for rehearsals at the weekend. It's just so stupid. It's so stupid. And do you know what? At the end of the day, they are basically training us to be good at pretend. That is all that it is. I think you either do it or you don't. And we had like Shakespeare, and I didn't know what the fuck I was saying. Like. And why are we still, going on about Shakespeare? Like, I think, there are Black Mirror episodes better than Shakespeare plays. Like, what? I mean, God.
You know what my thing was with Shakespeare was that there's parts of it where I'm like, okay, cool. There's a time where this writing was like revolutionary. But sometimes it was like, I come from a world that like, we only learnt about this in school. Like, no one would be in the barbershop and quote Shakespeare. And the things we was inspired by, the things we're watching, wasn't coming from any of that genre.
No.
So then when you get into like the audition and they're like, you got to quote classical, and you're like, what? I can't even recite this stuff. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. I think it's the equivalent, right, of going 600 years in the future and making everybody at drama school there do old EastEnders episodes, right? And then having to and then being like trying to find the meaning and like talking at length, in secondary schools about Pat Butcher's character. Like, it's the fucking same. Move on. He's fucking dead. Just fucking everyone just move on now. It's so depressing. But I think it's like an Emperor's New Clothes thing, where everybody's like, oh, don't you know how brilliant he is? It's like, yeah, fine. I mean, I'm sure he was brilliant to people who understood, who were around in those days.
Yeah.
Because I would have understood what a bare bodkin is. I don't know what that means.
Yeah.
You
know what it is, especially when you're dyslexic, because I'm dyslexic too. So when you have to learn, you're like, I get about in normal day-to-day life, learning and going through the basics. And now I got to learn Old English texts. And I'm like, yo, I'm just about like going through life normally with my life now. Do you know what I mean? And then I've got to learn this. Oh, man.
1,000%. Especially like when everybody in I don't know, GCSE time was having to read out the sort of English essays. And for us, it would be like, the cat sat on the mat. He was very fat. And everyone's sniggering.
Do you know what? Yeah. That's where your comedy comes from. Because, even for me, I'd be talking in English lessons. And then teachers would say, oh no, can you read the next verse of Mice and Men? And I'd be like, I can read, but now I've got to publicly read. But it wasn't just reading. It's like teachers had a way of reading the story that, everyone's involved. And, do you know what I mean? It's like, and then he said, as I cried, I will not stand for this. Pussy. And you're looking at a teacher like, wow. And then they're like, now you read it. You're like, bro, I can't do that. like I can read, but I can't read a story and do the actions how you've just done it. And now I'm in English like, and when he seen the man, he said, it's okay. I know it's okay, but I can't fucking do the actions and stuff you was doing, bruv. Good at it. Oh, man.
Oh, God. School was fucking funny, wasn't it?
I think, because I think that's where, and especially when you're dyslexic, that becomes now your deflection. So you're like, cool, the last time I read this, I was made to feel embarrassed and people would laugh at me. So now when I read it, I'll either joke around or I'll even be disruptive enough that I'm like, it's reading, it's going to come to me. I'm going to talk so I can get sent out.
Yes, I'm going to take ownership of this.
I'm like, I need to get out of this situation because I'm going to get embarrassed and I don't want that. And I'm like, that's just not what I want because you start knowing where your place is, where you're like, well, I'm normally fun in this class, but now gonna be embarrassed. So
Yeah,
let me just
yes, yeah.
find a way. Do you know what I mean?
Yes,
You know?
absolutely. Do you know what I think? I think for any comedian, being at school is where you learn how to be funny, and there are like such simple things like supply teacher time, right?
Oh, best time.
Such a small thing,
How
but
great
just
was that?
answering the wrong name in the register, and that will get a fucking laugh every
Get
fucking
the
time.
biggest laugh, and people expect it as well. I used to love it. I remember one time we had this Australian supply teacher, and the first day he butchered everyone's name. So the second day he was like, "Oh, great, can I say? Okay, cool. So we got Mo Sai here." So I thought, let me try an accent, and I was like, "Alright, so how you doing, man? Yeah, my name's Mo." And he was like, "A black Scottish boy. Who is this boy?" And the whole class are just laughing, but no one told him I weren't Scottish. So I'd be like, "Right, sir, mate, can you give me a hand with some of the work, my pal?" And it was just the best thing ever, because the whole, like, everyone's in on it apart from him.
Isn't it
You know
the
what I mean?
best thing?
Oh, man.
And it brings the whole class together, even the fucking nerds.
Yes,
They're
yeah.
sniggering. We've all come for the greater good. We'd be bullying you on a bad day, but today we are all coming together.
So, like, your middle is interesting because, like, your middle is like, we know you for, like, your creative writing of, your series of This Country. But This Country, how did you come up with the idea? Because it just feels like, because I know that the process of, like, you write the thing, you give it to, I don't know, the commissioner, and then they decide on it and stuff. But This Country feels so only you and your brother could come up with that idea. I feel anyway. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Do you know what it was? It was at a time when we were so low, we were unemployed. Like, we had been working as cleaners, but I was getting like job seekers allowance, and having to go up for jobs. Like, for example, I went up for, you have to go in for like interviews every fucking Thursday. There was a job for a pot wash in an Indian restaurant, and like 43 other people were going up for it. I mean, it was just depressing. I think we had bailiffs at the house, and I think we wrote it out of trying to, like, that again, that thing of trying to keep each other going, and it gave us hope. And it was also, there was nothing else. It was like, we were so angry at the world. It was just a sort of kind of supernatural urge to fucking fight and get this somewhere.
Yeah.
Which I don't think might not have happened had I been more comfortable and had been sort of financially secure. I don't know.
Yeah, they always say though, when you're struggling, you can come up with like your best stuff because you're hungry for it. Do you know what I mean? You're hungry to be like, I can do this thing on that, and we all get to like places once we get a little bit more successful where you're like, don't want to write this thing. I don't know, man. Let me just chill out. And it's easy to do, but like that level of hunger, I always feel like, come up with your best stuff. Or when you've had like a dip in something and you sit there and you say, rah, okay, cool, come on, man, let's pull it together now.
Yes. It's like you have to be backed into a corner. It's like a Rocky moment. I do totally believe that. That brings the best stuff. It's like you suddenly connect to the ether and you fucking give it everything, because everything is depending on it. There isn't a plan B. There is no plan B. You have to do this, and if this fails, then there's fucking nothing. Yeah. Which is, there's more at stake.
Was it also like comforting writing with your brother as well? Because I guess like having a family, I don't know, was it like having a family member there? Did it feel like you've got someone to like bounce off of, but also someone you're like, you know me and I know you, like, we can't piss each other off because it's all we've got.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Was that like that for you?
But I'm sure you find this. Writing it with somebody is so fucking hard. Because you have to be able to say, I think that if they suggest something and it's fucking shit, you just want to be able to go, it's shit. Them not take offence and you move on, right? But if you don't have that chemistry with somebody, 90% of it is just having to pussyfoot around. Trying to tell them in a way that's not going to offend them that something's fucking shit. Yeah. So, when it's your brother, I mean, I'd tell him his shit all the time. Yeah. You just...
It's more honest, I guess, if you're family members. Do you know what I mean? It's like, how honest can we be?
Yeah.
Like, if you know everything about me and I know everything about you, this is the purest honesty we can have.
No hiding.
Yeah, yeah.
Absolutely.
You
I
know my
know that.
flaws, everything. So we have to be as honest as we can be. Do you know what I mean?